In this video, guys, we're going to look at the risks and benefits of using high leverage. Stay tuned. Hey guys, warm welcome to you. All right, so we've all heard the adage, leverage is a double-edged sword. Leverage being the amount of notional value you can control with actual cash. So high leverage is really saying, right, I'm going to control a big notional value position with a small amount of cash. So obviously that can be very, very good. It can be very, very bad. We're going to explore some of the things in a moment. Now, these things change slightly, guys, with the new ESMA rules, depending where you are in the world. The new rules do restrict the amount of leverage that a retail client can have. But regardless of that, those rules may well change at some point. You might live in a different part of the world. And it's also still valuable to understand how useful it can be and how damaging it can be in some of the main things. So let's look at the obvious ones first. Risks. So the risks are you're going to get big account swings. So yes, we could look at a positive side to that, but your account could halve very, very quickly without much effort. If you're using really high leverage, you're trading a currency pair at 1,000 to 1 leverage or something, you're using all your margin. It doesn't take much. It takes a little bit of a movement in price against you and you are going to be knocked out. And of course, that comes with added emotion to it and added concern about where the price is going to go, because all of a sudden, that's a quarter of my account, a quarter of my account. The emotions are so much more amplified when you've got so much more money at stake. And so that makes trading very challenging, especially for a newer trader. If you're seeing your account halving in a matter of weeks because you're using leverage, or even a matter of days, that's really, really damaging. Whereas if you're using the low leverage and you're really kind of being cautious about it, it's going to take you a lot to really damage your account by that much. So big account swings, your equity curve is kind of going to look like this. It's going to be all over the place. One minute you'll be at a high point, next minute you'll be a low point, and then you've got a high chance of blow up. You only take a few losing trades in a row, use max leverage, and you're out of the game. It doesn't take that much. It doesn't even take that much leverage, really. If you're putting up 10%, for example, just think it doesn't take you many trades until you're completely out of the game. 10 trades you've got now, so know that you can reduce your position size and such as to suit. But in a roundabout way, that's pretty much how it works. If you put 10% leverage down, you have a losing trade on that. Obviously, it depends on the size of the losing trade, but all of a sudden, you've lost 10% of your account on one trade just because of the leverage you're using. Well, you know how many trades it's going to take you if you're using the same amount, obviously 10% of what you got left. It's very so small, but you get the point. The idea is that you're a string of losers which happen to everybody will blow up your account. So you're almost like an inevitable blow up if you carry on with that high leverage situation. And noise can stop you out. Because you're very sensitive to movement and small movements, you tend to use tight stops. You're like, I'll use tight stops, I don't want to risk so much. And so your stops end up being in the noise category. And so you get stopped out more often. And actually, it's more risky to do that than have a wider stop and risk more in one trade than constantly being stopped out with small stops that are just pinging the noise. And of course, you've got the highest spread costs on an account basis. The more your leverage goes up, the bigger the position, the more that spread cost or the commission, whichever kind of model you're trading, costs you, the more the overnight charge costs you. If you're trading, a spread bet, £100 a point, say, and your account is, I don't know, £5,000 or something, all of a sudden a 2-point spread is quite a big chunk, really, of your account just to took the trade on. So you've got to consider that as well. So some of the benefits, of course, guys, is that your account can grow dramatically. You can grow dramatically. Well, whether that's luck or skill, irrelevant. If you're using high leverage, use that example, 10% growth every trade, and take many trades to double your account, right? So you can get really decent growth on your account. You can take advantage of market opportunities. So I think this is the way of really using leverage to your advantage, to say, right, well, I'm going to use more of it when the opportunities are there, when the markets are ripe and when they're really conducive to my trading style. Then I'm going to kind of turn up the leverage a bit and use it a bit more, rather than just trying to use it all the time. The other thing is you can use different strategies, like market neutral strategies. Pair trading is a great example. You can lose leverage and have high notional value, so it's really beneficial. But because you're market neutral, it's not that much risk. You're basically trading differential of the two, but then it becomes feasible because some of these pair strategies aren't really that feasible on some spread strategies. If you're trading like a calendar spread or something like that, or some kind of spread across crack spread or something on crude oil or soybean crush, some kind of spread where you're trying to actually trade an underlying ratio, you need a lot of leverage to make it worthwhile. Otherwise you're in for just a small amount using quite a lot of capital. So those are quite capital intensive strategies, so leverage becomes quite useful for that. But the big thing really benefit is that it can grow your account dramatically. And in actual fact, many people probably are going to have to at some point use a bit of leverage to get going, to kind of get themselves going if they've got a relatively small account to start with. Otherwise, it's it kind of takes you a long while to chug up, and you have to take obviously the risk that comes with that. And look out for another video, guys, coming up about. When I'll talk about a story about me and leverage and using leverage kind of in a risky way that paid off to kind of get a bit of a head start on things in my early days. But yeah, the biggest risk, of course, is that your account swings are massive. Very hard to trade with clarity and focus when using high leverage. Awful chance of a high blow up, and that's why many traders blow up. They start with a small account, they go maximum leverage, and just by luck or just bad trading, a couple of bad trades in a row, bang, they're out of the game, and that's them done. So leverage to be used at some point when you feel that it's a tool that can be useful for you. It's a powerful tool, but in the wrong hands, it's deadly, like a lot of tools, I guess. All right, guys, take care. See you next one. Bye-bye.